Good morning. How is everyone doing today? I'm just setting up, so give me a few seconds. Okay, let's see. Hey, good morning, Elena. Haven't seen you in a long time. Actually, I haven't been much online either, so I guess that's okay. Did you get the new mugs? You had ordered the big jumbo purple and another blue mug? Yeah, the blue mug with the flower pattern, right? So I hope you like them. Your boyfriend liked the big purple jumbo mug. So what I wanted to work on today, you did? Oh, good. So today I wanted to spin some art yarn. Um, I had done this art yarn before, spirals, not beehives. This is kind of like tight spirals. And I was struggling so much for the last 2 days making them again. Oh, I'm glad he loved the mugs. Hey, awesome for using it every day. So yeah, coming back to the spiral yarn, not spiral mugs, but I tried for the last 2 days trying to make that yarn again, and I was really struggling. So the way it works is you make a thick and thin, and then you ply it with a thinner ply. But my yarn was just not agreeing to do that. It was just like, no, uh, not gonna happen. And it just like I used to keep losing the twist in the thicker part, and I think so. Last night I sat with it for a good 1 hour, late at night, and figured it out what was happening, and I did manage to make the kind of spiral yarn I wanted to make. Now this still has some extra twist in it because I did not um, steam it yet, but I just finished this last night, and the colors are a little bit blown out, but you can see it's oranges, grays, and blues, and this is the kind of spirals I was trying to create. And after doing these, I so you can see on the thin part there is a little bit of twist happening, like right there. That will come off after steaming. So I kind of want to make a variation of this particular yarn. So I'm first going to spin the thick and thin today, and we'll see how much time goes by and if I'll get to do the spiral and the variation which I'm talking about. So so this is a braid. If you remember, this is the same braid I had used for those all these different art yarns that I had created. So I'd created all of these from that same braid, and I still have some of that braid left. So I thought, let's try a really very different kind of art yarn from the same braid. Since I still have it, I'm still chugging along with that 4 ounces. So I do want to first strip it down a little thinner. I don't want very big puffs. Uh, Means those puffs out there were the braid like split into um, I think that was probably around uh, five six sections. So I'm kind of doing them approximately like a thumb size, and so yeah, sometimes if you're not doing them all evenly like this, I can tell that I did it thinner than the other one. It's fine. Some of the spirals will come out thick, some will come out thin. It's fine. I have allowed myself not to stress over it anymore. Earlier I used to, but now I'm like, I'm done. It's fine. However, if they are equal, they are equal. If they are not, they are not. And this one, let's just split it one more time. And so I got 5. And I think one of them is a little bit on the thinner side, and I'm not paying attention to the order of them because it all gets um, jumbled up in there. So I'm just going to grab one at a time and spin a thick and thin. All right. So and what I did want to do is, why am I getting messages? Oh, sorry about that. Okay. While spinning the thick and thin, I'm going to the next higher up whirl, smaller whirl, higher speed, and spinning in the clockwise direction. I do need some. Because you do want a decent amount of twist going into this yarn, because you are going to ply it eventually. And for maybe a yard or so, I'm going to spin like a even, not super thick, not super thin. Where am I? My wheel bounces a lot, so I need to add these coasters on the two sides of the feet, and then it becomes a lot more stable. So yeah, I'm going to just still need a little bit more tension there. This is my default way of spinning, which is kind of like a short backward. And let's start doing the thick and thin. So the key is to have a good amount of twist in the thick portions and have it really close to the orifice, so you're not adding extra twist anywhere else. There we go. So take a good chunk off, let there be a thin section, the twist will follow there. And I find keeping it close to the orifice and sending it in real quick helps to keep the twist in that thick portion. Because if you otherwise keep twisting, it just kind of stays in one spot, or all the twist just goes into the super thick portion of the yarn, which is something we don't want. And there are some super jumbo thick sections like this last one which went through, which is fine. And let's just move. So I also want to do some um, plain straight sections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some like regular thin, longer, thinner sections this time around, because the technique I want to do um, would look better if there were longer, thinner sections in between. I think so. We'll see. It's all an experiment. I have not done this particular kind of yarn, what I'm thinking of how it should work. So, so this is a variation on that spiral yarn that you just saw. So we'll see if it actually works. I know it feels like I'm really being aggressive towards pulling that. So that's how it's looking on the bobbin right now. Uh, which I think is pretty cool. I do like these thick and thin swirls in a hand painted, like a space dyed rowing like this, because you get these really cool sections. You know, these spirals having two colors in them. Okay, some of my thin sections become very thin, so I kind of want to be careful of that they don't become like super thin. Time to join. Yeah, this it's just so much fun to do. Um, to spin with color, I find it very hard, like to spin with just plain white or gray. I have done it, but it's it feels a little painful sometimes. Color sure is one important factor in my uh, that makes me happy when it comes to spinning, for sure. Almost lost that there. There we go. Hopefully that will stay. It should. But yeah, see, I'm kind of landing up thinning out my thin sections a bit much. I need to be careful about that. This fiber is merino that I did dye myself, and seeing how it's pretty convenient to draft, so I didn't felt it, which is a good thing. Hey Lorraine, your oil bottles are still drying. We are today and yesterday was still a little warmer days, So that was still okay, but stuff has not been drying in the studio, which is sometimes extremely annoying. But as you did see, your bottle has been made. It's just waiting to dry, get in the kiln, and hopefully by end of next week, they should be ready to ship. So that's what the plan is. I'm hoping tomorrow or day after I can fire the kiln. So right now I'm spinning a thick and thin, which I plan to uh, do a variation of this particular yarn, and it's going to be spiral like this, but with a slight different variation. And I'm in my mind, I think it's gonna work, but you know how these things go. Things never go the way you plan. I'm even wondering whether I should use the whole of that braid to do this in case it doesn't work out. But in case it doesn't, I can probably go back to doing the regular ply, like the spiral ply, which I did do last night. Sometimes it feels like it's a harder pull to draft out the fiber. So maybe I am getting like, it's not felted like if I was spinning this regularly it would be fine. But just for this particular thick and thin, it kind of helps if it is like a perfectly um, prepped up fiber with absolutely no um, felting. And this is not felting, I don't know what I want to call it. I guess compactness. So see, it gets kind of compacted, but it's not felted. It's all open still. Oh, let me show you my hands what I'm doing, because that probably didn't make any sense. But I'll show you. Excuse me. So see, it's not drafting easily, and I think it's got to do a little bit with me having to hold my hand a little further back. But this is merino, it doesn't have that long a staple length, but I think it's just a little compacted the fiber. There we go. See, it does draft out just fine. So if I'm doing regular spinning, it is absolutely fine. It's only when I pull a thick chunk off, which is required in this particular technique, it gives me a little bit of a struggle, but it's not too bad. Um, just didn't want to stick. see now. Okay. There we go. So, if anyone has seen my recent Facebook post, Instagram post, I posted about these gray and purple mugs that I'm making in not collaboration as such, but definitely joining hands with Ann Bud for the Alzheimer's Association longest day donation. So basically, it's the longest day, and Ann Bud has a pattern that she started knitting on at 5 in the morning, and she's going to knit till the end of day and is hoping to get done by the end. And she's donating a significant part of the pattern sales towards the research. And I'm donating $5 of every gray purple mug that is there in that listing for Alzheimer's as well. So, if you are looking for a gray purple mug and have been thinking about purchasing one, it's the right time to buy. Though they are all made to order, um, I don't have any in stock. I have to actually make them from scratch. I do have some mugs in the making, but they are for the Wool and Fiber Festival, the virtual Wool and Fiber Festival that I'm doing on Friday. So I need some inventory for that. So that's where most of that will be going. That's just too thin. I don't like that. So, so yeah, that is where that listing will be going, and the mugs will be going. But for the Alzheimer's, I'll be making more mugs in the next round, and that's when those will ship out. This feels like a section which is extra compacted, and it's the way I steam my fiber. I kind of need to get a bigger pot for steaming so that the fiber is not so close to the heat source. I think that is one reason why my fiber does get a little bit compacted. So I need to experiment with some bigger pots. gosh, I hate spending so much money on these things when earlier I would just go to Goodwill and buy something. These days it's like, I don't know if I can or I should. I don't even know if our Goodwills are open. I think they probably are taking donations, but I'm pretty sure they almost no business has seen us really closed out here, which is to some extent annoying to me that cases keep increasing and they wonder why. Well, because nothing is closed, everyone is still going out, no one is still wearing masks. Sorry for the rant, but see, it just in some areas it's compacted and I don't like that. It's fine for spinning, regular spinning, like I said, um, but this kind of thick and thin requires that your fiber be drafting like perfectly every time, and that is not necessarily happening, which I find super annoying. What do you agree with? The whole mask wearing thing, or the stores not being open or being open? See, now this area is perfectly fine. In that middle section, I think that part was like closer to the heat source uh, when I was steaming. So I need to see, like if I was making bats and like I was dyeing fiber for bats, I think for that part I would be fine. That wouldn't be so much of an issue. But if see if I'm doing regular spinning, like I did spin this all up earlier as well when I did the other art yarns, I think it's also got to be with maybe just sitting compacted in my box. Like you can squish fiber. Yeah, mask and all that. Yep. But definitely one thing about spinning this yarn is like every one of those thick portions which gets those multitudes of colors like this gives me joy. It makes me happy. So, and I don't know, Elena, if you had followed me last week or so. I posted that I finally gave in and decided to purchase a drum carder. You gotta go. All right. Thanks for joining in. I'll catch you again soon when I go live again. shot as to how the bobbin is looking. All the thick and thin yarn. So let's put the short on the bobbin for a while. I just have 2 more of these left. Let me know if y'all have any questions or if you would like to see a different view, if you rather see my hands than the bobbin. See, this one is drafting just amazingly, and I think it's got to do with what part of the fiber is close to the heat source that gets a little bit more compacted than I would like. So I need to move my fiber a lot higher. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that unless I get a bigger pan for it. my hand so you can see what I'm doing. Just take a big chunk off your fiber supply to make a thick section. Make sure it gets enough twist in it and then pass it through quickly. These right here are my favorite colors, the orangish reds and very jewel tone yarn. It's like I have more people who joined in. Welcome everyone. Who's messaging me? Very last braid. And then I'll take a break. I thought I would just go ahead and do the spiral plying now as well, but I'm tired. And for the new people who joined in, the goal is actually to make a yarn like this, which I made last night after a lot of struggles to figure out how to get the spirals the way I want. And I finally did. So I've been struggling for the last 2 days to get it just right. I don't know why I was having so much trouble with it, but I definitely was. So I think I think I've got the hang of it, and what I wanted to do was an additional variation this time, which I thought I would do it live, but now I'm tired, and after finishing this section, I'm gonna take a break. So, if y'all would like to watch that live as well, let me know, and then I can kind of plan the rest of the day accordingly and decide to come online later. So, is there any interest in that? Seeing that spiral yarn? Like, look at this. I have to show you this bobbin. The thick and the thin are so perfectly aligned that all the thick section is going on one side of the bobbin and the thin is going on the other side. So the bobbin looks unbalanced almost. That just means my thick and thins are very regular, which is a good thing. And usually, like the yarn I had shown you just now, in that it was the thick sections were much closer together, but this I said is kind of a variation of that, so that's why I'm putting some longer, thinner sections in between. So I hope it works, but we never know. And I don't know if I do that kind of yarn with such long, thin sections in between, if it will still work. So lots of testing to do. Alright, I'm almost come to the end of this. Now the rest of this is only a little bit of fiber left. That's all that I have left. So that I'm going to just spin like a regular medium weight, not super thin, but I'm not going to do the thick portions in that anymore. Just a even short backward. Good. There we go. So in case if you were using this yarn for cast on or something, you have um, even section of non-textured yarn, the beginning and the end. There we go. That's the bobbin. So I am going to next ply it up to make a spiral yarn similar to this, but with a twist. Alright. Thank you for hanging out. Bye.